How do you keep yourself safe?
Those things were happening because there was somebody with a knife. I'm talking about my experience though, so people will not come for me and say they bought jobs, which is not supposed to happen. They paid for COS and all that.
And they said to me, I will never, if I get the opportunity, nothing will make me come back to this country. I will sell because they know the minimum wage. They are as current as, Rishi Sunak. Hello and welcome to the channel. I've got a special guest in the house. As you can see, it's a special and different kind of video today. So I've got Tochi in the house. Most of you will know her. Tochi's channel is the one-stop channel if you're looking to travel out to USA, to Canada, to the UK especially. Our channel is that one-stop channel where you can get all the information that has to do with immigration. As far as that is concerned, that is where you're going to find it. So today, Tochi is here to, talk to us about her experience in the UK, why she traveled to the UK, and, give us tips and advice on how to navigate life successfully in the UK. So yeah, Tochi, thank you so much for coming. It's really, really good to have you here.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. Hello everyone, my name is Tochi. I have a YouTube channel called Tochi Esther. For those who don't know me, where I talk about my life in the UK, basically everything good. If you visit my channel, you should see something you like. So I'm happy to be here. I live in the UK with my family and we're just going to be having fun, having an interesting conversation today. So thank you so much for having me.
I'll just go right into it. There's no need to, waste time or faff around. So tell us, why did you leave Nigeria? Why did you leave your family and friends? Why did you leave all your loved ones and, jackpot? No, you didn't jackpot. You were not in the jackpot era. I think you left before the whole, the whole influx. So tell us, why did you leave Nigeria?
Well, at the time I left Nigeria, I felt like it was time for us to leave. Because at that time, Nigeria wasn't really giving us, what we wanted from life and from everything, It wasn't really working like that, if you get what I mean. So an opportunity came for us to leave. God just made a way and we left. So that was why I left Nigeria. We pastures.
That's what Nigerian story like. Basically, I would say more than 50% left for greener pasture. That's just the way it has been. So how has it been then since you left?
God has been faithful. It's a system that works. I believe if you move abroad with an open mind, ready to put in the work, not to impress anyone or to show off or anything, just taking it one day at a time, you'll be fine because it's really a system that works, So far, so good. So far, so good. God has been faithful to us. And, I'm so glad that we took that decision or we took that step.
Okay. Like I would always say, the UK is one system. The system is quite unique. And for most Nigerians that travel there, that's basically the story. Most people go and, what they've been trying to achieve here at home, they just go there and give them like few years later, the story will be different. So it's really good to hear that you're doing well, you're thriving, the system is working for you, and that's good to hear. Recently, you can see what is happening at the moment. It's hitting on everybody, like literally everybody, the big, the small, the rich, the poor. Basically, I'm going to talk about the economic crisis. I don't think it's peculiar to the UK actually, but I would say it's like a world crisis. But let's narrow it down to the UK. How are you coping with the inflation, the recession, and the cost of living generally? So how are you coping with that recent happening?
Well, we're not going to deny that fact because it hits everybody. When I first came in 2020, when you go to Aldi or you enter any shop, you go with 20 pounds, you have bought a full basket. But now 20 pounds cannot even buy you anything anymore. Right? Sometimes when you go to the counter to pay and you just see the and the bill, the price of what you bought, you now be asking, what did I pick? I just remember I went to Morrison's, and I went to Morrison's last week just to pick up my baby's food and a few other things. And then I went to the counter, I saw 50 something pounds. I said, what did I buy? Right? I just closed one eye, I just paid, and I went by the corner to check the receipt just to see exactly what I bought that was 50 something pounds. You know, it was really surprising, but that's the reality. That's the era we are in right now. A lot of things have gone up, but we are coping, we are fine. This is one thing that people say, that's why people say prices of food keep going up, but salaries does not go up. Salaries are just, you know, the way it has been. It just increases maybe by, you know, few pounds and all of that, but we are coping. God has been good. And the truth is, if you cut down what you do, your expenses, because we did that as well. There were some of the things that we used to buy in the past that we don't buy anymore. We had to cut down a lot of things that we buy, you know, as a family. We just look at our outgoings, our income, our outgoings, everything. We just, you know, set our priorities right. You know, we had to prioritize and all of that. But yeah, just like every other person is coping everywhere in the world, we are coping here as well.
That's good to hear. But one thing I get most of the time when I speak to people here in Nigeria, I say to them, you know, like everybody's complaining this bag of rice now is 80,000 pounds, 80,000 naira. Indomie is like 15,000 naira. Except you want to go for the other brands. They are still expensive, but a little bit affordable for most people. So when I talk to people about cost of living, especially in the UK, like when I tell them some of the reasons I left the UK to Nigeria, they'll tell me, there's no way you can compare. You can't compare the prices, you know, the way the prices is going up in the UK to Nigeria. Like you can't compare like what is happening over there to what we have here in Nigeria. I just want us to dig a little into, you know, it's almost like a known fact to most people, but somehow Nigerians living in Nigeria don't understand. Like when you tell them things like this actually happens in the UK. We have like high cost of living in the UK. We have high rates of unemployment in the UK. We have housing crisis at the moment in the UK. You know, the crime rate is going high as we speak. So when you talk to them about things like that, and it's not like Nigeria is like one-stop place for all the evils in the world, you know. So I just want us to dive a little into that aspect and, you know, talk to us how you've been able to, you know, manage, how have you been able to keep safe, the NHS, how is it holding on because of, you know, the old staffing issues. I know I'm modeling everything up, but I'm going to take it one at a time. So you've talked about the high cost of living. So let's just dive into like the crime rate and stuff. How do you keep yourself safe?
Oh, well, I think it depends on where you live. Okay. Mm-hmm. Where I live is, I would say it's relatively safe, you know. There was this incident, there was a time my husband and I were going to see a friend, and then we got to a street. We saw police presence, we even saw helicopter flying everywhere. You know, the whole place was strange, the sight, police presence everywhere. And then we really didn't know what was happening at the time. So they blocked the road, so we had to take another direction and all of that. And then when we got home, we now realized that we saw those things were happening because there was somebody with a knife, right? Somebody ran into that place with a knife. And that was why the police blocked the whole road. Everywhere there was helicopter. That was how they declared that place a crime scene. It was crazy. You know, look at where we're coming from and looking at how things are. It was really strange. And I was impressed, to be honest. I was really impressed for, you know, them trying to put everything under control like that and all. So I would just say that they tried their best to keep it under control, even though it still happens, but it doesn't happen as often as people see it or as people say in the news.
I think I agree with that saying that it depends on where you live, but it's just the disparities in the way things are. Part of why I'm asking these questions is to educate Nigerians living in Nigeria to understand that these things actually happens. the proportion might not be that high, or it might be, depending on the area, like we've just said. So I just want Nigerians living in Nigeria to understand that these things actually happens. But as at the time we left, the waiting time when you have an appointment, before you have an appointment with a GP, is like something else. So I don't know how this whole staffing issue, and with the influx of immigrants, mostly in the health sector, I don't know how has it been, did it make any change? Has it improved the situation? You know, just tell us what has happened.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
How much has it improved?
Well, I think it also depends on your circumstance and why you want to see the GP. To be very honest with you, people say a lot of things, but personally, I haven't experienced such things. I have, but I would explain, okay? When it comes to emergency, for instance, when I had my last baby here, for those of you who have watched the video on my channel, we had, some challenges where my baby had to stay back in the hospital for a few weeks. Okay, he was even moved to Liverpool. I saw how they took care of him. I saw how the NHS really, worked so hard. We didn't even have to be there, and he was fine. When they transferred him from Liverpool to Liverpool, we didn't go with the ambulance that transferred him, but he was fine. They advised us not to, because it was midnight. They told us that we could come in the morning. Even when I insisted, they said, don't worry. And my husband didn't want me to go alone, because he felt if I go alone, I'll just be crying and crying. So he wanted us to go the next day, and everything. He went, they even sent us a message. They've arrived, see the ward he's in, see the number, see the name of the nurse in charge and things. And if we didn't provide clothes, he was going to be fine, because they had clothes, they had milk, they had like everything in place, diaper and everything in place for him while he was at the hospital. Carers, nurses, we didn't even sleep. I didn't have to sleep with him in the hospital. You get what I mean? If you're in Nigeria, I don't think you would want to leave your baby at the hospital. You will feel mad doing such a thing. They'll look at you as right, but we didn't have to be there, and he was fine up until the day he was discharged. Everything was good, and I saw how the NHS, was really efficient in that aspect, right? Okay. But then when it now comes to, like, when I now went for my checkup, 6 months checkup, I mentioned some things to the doctor, and he referred me to surgery. And then when I called, they gave me a letter, like a referral letter and all. And then when I called, they said they were still attending to people from last year, so I'm on the queue. So when it gets to my turn, they'll let me know. But that was because it wasn't a serious thing. I don't think anybody puts you on a queue if it's something serious, or if they think there's any danger that will come your way. It wasn't a serious thing. It was something I could live with. So I think things like that are why you enter the queue. And for my child as well, we went to see the pediatrician, and they told me that we are on the queue, and it might be till next year. But it's not an emergency, something that we can overlook, right? But because of how unserious it is, we joined the queue. Talking about my experience though, so people will not come for me and say, I know how people can misrepresent things sometimes. This is my own experience, right? I don't think doctors will keep you on the queue for a serious or an urgent matter that needs attention. I don't think so.
Apart from testimonies or people's feedback on the NHS and the service they've been getting recently, I'm just going to read you. Apart from that, I'm going to read you what I found on the gov.uk website. It's basically saying that the NHS staffing problem has been an issue, and as we speak, it is increasing. The demand is increasing for health service. It has really gone up, and the crisis has deepened, possibly the worst since 1940. So what I'm trying to get from this whole thing is, most Nigerians, most Asians that are leaving their country to the West, this time the UK, most of them end up in the health sector. As someone that is living in the UK, you're part of the system. By now, from your own experience, you've told us like you're fine, everything seems to be working well. But from what you hear from other people, do you think it has really helped? That's where I'm getting to. Do you think the influx of health workers into the UK has really helped the NHS? Do you think that's one of the reasons things are picking up now?
Yeah, the NHS is recruiting. They keep recruiting as much as they can. Of course, there's a limit because the UK government have also put in some measures in place to kind of cut down, legal migration. Okay,
Yeah.
that would also restrict the number of people. But NHS on their own, they try as much as they can to recruit as much people as possible. But the truth is, every sector have their own challenges and suffer from their own, since COVID, especially since COVID, a lot of sectors are affected all over the world. But they are trying their best, to be honest. Of course, I know, like I mentioned, I know that it's affecting them. The NHS is overstretched, right? But they can only do their best.
It's actually good to know that people are not just living, at least they're making impact in the health sector over there. Because when they go there, they get recruited into the care sector, the hospitals and hospices and places like that. So it's good to know that they actually, they're making impacts. Let me just ask you, what is your take on this Japa syndrome? What do you have to say about this whole Japa syndrome? As you know, the influx is on the rise as we speak. So what do you have to say about it?
What I have to say about Japa, I really don't use the word Japa because I don't believe in it. I don't believe that anybody can just wake up, carry their bags and relocate to another country, because location is not easy. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot from you to actually leave everything that you have known for a long time and just start going to another man's country to start life afresh, right? So what I would say is, just if you want to Japa, or rather if you want to relocate, it's up to you. Entirely your decision, but you have to think about it. You have to have a plan. It's not all rosy out there. It's usually not easy on the other side, right? So you have to have a plan. What are you going to do? Are you going to study? Are you going for a job? Are you going to work? What exactly are you going to do? Have you saved enough money? Because some people save or sell all they have and go into debt. And when they relocate, they discover that, it's not so easy like this here, right? And then they begin to struggle. So before you relocate, count your costs, sit down, calculate the cost, think about it. How are you going to survive for the first 1 year? It's not easy. That's like the first 1 year of your stay. And if you don't even have a plan, it will be worse. It might be for the first 2 years. There are people now in the UK that came here, sold a lot of things, and they're stranded because they were, I don't know if we say they were desperate, or they bought jobs, which is not supposed to happen. They paid for COS and all that. And they came here and discovered that all those things were fake. They don't have jobs, and those guys are not finding it funny. It's not easy on them. They can't even go back because they have nothing to go back to.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? There are people who go to study. Recently, we saw a news of some people that were deported. Their universities deported them because they couldn't complete their fees, right? So imagine those kind of people have, taking debt, taking loans, sold their properties to raise school fees, to pay, and then they're at this point. What are they going back to? What will they do? Where will they start from? You get what I mean? So relocation is not easy. It's something you have to plan and think thoroughly about it before you move. So don't just move because everyone is going. Don't sell your property because everyone is doing. Let me do. Think about it. Is it what you want to do? What do you want to do when you get there? How are you going to cope? What are you going to survive before you get a job? Because you might not get a job immediately you get there, right? Especially if you're a dependent, or it depends on how you're moving though. As a dependent, you might not get a job immediately you get there. So how are you going to survive before you get a job? If you're going to study, do you have enough money, enough savings that would keep you going before you get a job? If you get what I mean. So you should think about it thoroughly before you move.
This for me is the crux of the matter for me. What you just said now is actually what I struggle. I struggle to understand why people do this. I mean, why they sell their properties, why they borrow huge sum of money to relocate or to Japa, like we say here in Nigeria. It's actually there on their visa. It says no recourse to public fund. It's there, glaring, You should know the meaning of that and know the risk you're taking, especially if you're a family person. So that is, I don't want to say a problem I have with people when I have, conversation with people. I'm like, I left the UK nearly 2 years now, and I'm here in Nigeria. And I, have conversation with people or want people to play. Well, why did you leave? I talk to them of why I live, or I talk to them why I left and everything. And they said to me, I would never, if I get the opportunity, nothing will make me come back to this country. I will sell because I know, okay, let's do this math. They will calculate pounds. They know the minimum wage. They are as current as, Rishi Sunak himself. They know the minimum wage and they will convert it to Naira. And you can imagine the numbers. So I think that's where the confusion for some people comes in. If only they can listen to people like you, or someone like me that have been there. Like I was there for years, 15 years. My husband was there for 20-something years. Like we were there. We understand the system. It works to an extent. What do you think the challenges are for people that newly relocated to the UK? What are the challenges that you think people are facing at the moment? Not for people like you, like the ones that just, relocated newly or jackpot newly. What are the challenges that they're facing?
It's a lot. For instance, housing. There's housing crisis right now. It's very difficult to get accommodation in the UK. Even with your money, you find it so difficult, right? And then the interest rate for getting a mortgage now is so high. It's really high, compared to when we got ours, So, and then compared to the cost of living right now, plus the cost of living right now has gone up. So if we used to spend £1,000 a month and we'll be fine, now it's almost double, right? So imagine you're just moving to a new country and you have to spend so much money just to survive every month. Is a lot. So they have to put in the extra work just to be able to meet up with the financial demands and all.
So lastly, what are the tips or advice, if you like, that you can give to Nigerians in the diaspora? I will just focus on the ones that just relocated recently. What advice or tips would you give them, to navigate life successfully in the UK?
Just put your head down, okay? Take it one day at a time. Don't pressure yourself, no pressure, because you just moved to another country. It's not going to be easy on you. Explain to your people back home as well. Nobody should pressure you, so that you can settle in very well, find a job if you have to, and do the best that you can. Don't try to, because there are people that have this impression of, I'm going to build 10 houses in 1 year once I step abroad. They don't pick money on trees abroad. They don't pick money on the floor abroad, right? You literally have to work for every pound that you make. In fact, now, because you have traveled abroad, people will not dash you money anymore, because everybody knows that you're now abroad and you're the one that's supposed to be giving people. So nobody is going to be giving you any money.
That's the way it goes.
What you have is what you earn for yourself. So that is what should tell you that you have to put your head to the ground and work hard for your money. So the point is, just don't impress anyone. Do the best that you can. And this credit system has deceived a lot of people into buying so many things on credit. Please don't buy so many things on credit. What I do now is, if I cannot pay cash for something, most times I don't buy it, okay? Except it's something I need and I really want it, then I will go for credit. Because say the trick, by the time you buy a chair, okay, you buy your furniture, you buy your bed, buy your fridge, buy air fryer, buy this, you'll be happy that you'll be happy that you bought all these things on credit and you're paying £20 each month, £10. If you calculate all those things that you have bought every month, you will see that it's taking a huge chunk of your salary every month. So by the time all those your direct debits, by the time everything goes out, you've paid all your bills, you'll be left with nothing. So try as much as possible to buy things that you need, and for most part, try to, if you have cash for it, pay for it. Don't let this credit system, don't let it deceive you, because see,
it's very sweet, my
dear. Stories.
It's very sweet. That's one of what I love. Yeah, that's one of the reasons people like, life in the UK. You can own everything on credit. The system is like two opposite worlds. You want a car, any car you want, as long as you've got a job, as long as you can pay the instrumental payment, you're good to go. I think you've hit the nail on the head with that one. So yeah, you've heard it from Tochi. Life in the UK is sweet. Nobody can deny that. But all we are saying is, before you do the relocation, think about it. You don't have to sell your properties. You don't have to, close the businesses, because if anything goes wrong, there's nothing to come back to. You basically have to start afresh. So this is going to all the people that are already well-to-do, in Nigeria. If things are working well for you, think about it twice before you embark on that journey. But for the broke ones, for the ones looking for a job, for the ones that have been, struggling and trying to make it, my dear, any opportunity you see, go to Tochi's channel. Any opportunity you get, go to her channel. You'll see different routes, different ways, through schooling, through like different ways of, relocating. So that's what Tochi's channel can do for you. So let's go there. And I'd like to say thank you so much, Tochi, for coming today. It's been amazing to hear your own side of the whole issue. I'm really happy that things are working out well for you, and I'm really happy with the advice that you've given so far. Thank you so much for watching. I will come your way next time with another wonderful guest again. So bye-bye.